Welcome to TRS, Ma. I can finally talk to you now.
I feel so motherly about it.
How many years of Shri Vidya Upasana had you done before this point?
With Swami Rama, it was already 10-12 years. People know about Paramahamsa Yogananda, but many people say they don't know who is Swami Rama. I used to feel bad. He is a rarity among the rare yogis.
Could there be a young person who is a good person, wants to evolve, but drinks alcohol, smokes cigarette, eats non-veg, yet practices?
I say, who am I to tell you that you are not perfect? And then what is perfection? It's your mental concoction that perfection is like this, like this, like this. It doesn't exist in reality.
How did you know that he is your guru?
I had some special affinity in the corner of my mind for Krishna. He came and gave the instruction that I have to go to this guru and learn Shri Vidya in the Dakshinachara.
Are you comfortable sharing the beginning points of Shri Vidya Upasana?
Bhagavati herself might direct you depending on your karma samskara vasanas and your power to receive the messages from her.
By sending you the right people or situations, right?
Anything that you want. It need not be related to the Mother Divine. Gayatri Mantra, Mrityunjaya Mantra. Because at a subtler plane, even to come to that mantra, it is her inspiration. For example, for Ramana Maharshi, that one experience of death in his young body was enough to realize that he is divine.
You just gave out some positive substances on this podcast.
My body is vibrating.
Over the last couple of years, we've created a ton of Tantra-based episodes on TRS, but over the last 6 months, we focused specifically on Shri Vidya. It's an aspect from the world of Tantra. It's a school of Tantra, if you may. Today's guest, Guru Sakalamaa, is one of the greatest spokespeople, one of the greatest students, and one of the greatest teachers when it comes to the subject of Shri Vidya. You're going to enjoy this episode if you enjoy our Tantra conversations. It's a longer, deeper episode than normal. I am trying to get better at these spiritual conversations. So sit back, relax, absorb as much as you can, because I promise you, you'll return to this episode in a few months' time. It's a very powerful episode and it was a very important day in my life. Just simply meeting Guru Sakalamaa. There was a very different energy in the room when she was present in our studio. I think you will gain a lot of value from this one. It's Guru Sakalamaa on TRS. Welcome to TRS, Ma. I can finally talk to you now. Thank you for being on the show. How are you?
I am good. With Bhagavati's blessings, things move always.
Okay. What do you mean by Bhagavati?
I would like to invoke her first,
Okay.
And then talk.
Done.
Shri Guru Padadvandvam Avangmanasagocharam Rakta Shukla Prabha Mishritam Atarkyam Traipuram Maha Hiranyagarbhadarabdham Sheshavyasadi Madhyamam Swami Shri Rama Padanta Vande Guru Parampara. Seeking the grace of the Mother Divine and the blessings of the sages, masters in the tradition, gurus, Rishigan, I am here to share something about the spiritual path by name Shri Vidya.
Thank you for joining us today. Nice to finally meet you in the physical plane.
You have made an interesting comment.
Why do I feel like I've met you before? Something is
Yeah.
okay. Great meeting you. I just woke up with a lot of positivity today. So I know that these conversations are pre-planned, which is why I said great to meet you in the physical plane. Is it true that one meets people in other planes before you end up meeting them in physical planes?
Lot of things happen before actually happens at the material plane, which is unseen, unknown. It's all in the pattern of vibrations. Once we pick up the language of vibration, everything is seen, everything is visible.
Okay. There's so many things I wish to talk to you about today. Obviously, learning about the Shri Vidya path is the core of what we'll talk about today. But I also want to know your story. I also want to just ask you some of my problems, because I've seen that with all these spiritual podcasts, if I'm able to voice out my real problems based on what I'm going through in life, a lot of our audiences are able to connect with what I am going through as a 31-year-old. So let's begin with your story, because I think just through your words and all your chapters, I'm going to find a lot of my answers. So tell me about your life.
If you give me this big window, it becomes very difficult to peep through, because normally I don't indulge in thinking about myself.
Okay.
So if you can just give me some
More
leads.
specific,
Yeah.
the first memory I have in life, myself, I have like 3 or 4 memories. One of which is watching Kamal Hassan's Indian in a theatre in 1996 or 7. The second one is getting badly injured on my leg as a 3-year-old and I have stitches. And the third one is this big painting of Krishna that was in my house. And I remember looking at that painting as a kid while I was sleeping, and it would like smile at me. That's what I remember about that painting. And the painting's still there in my house.
Mm-hmm.
So as a teenager, once I asked my mom that, I have this memory of it, but I don't remember it being in this room. It used to be in your room, right? And she was just looking at me like I'm a weirdo. So I asked her, why are you looking at me like that? So she said that because before I gave birth to you, we had moved that painting out. So I think it was her memories which I was accessing while I was in her womb. But that's my first memory in life, technically speaking. This is a true story. But that's my first interaction with some kind of a divine power. I think it's as simple as just a painting smiling at you. What was your first interaction?
With the divinity,
Yes.
as far as I understood myself, I never thought I was a spiritual person. Never. I always felt I am an ordinary person in a simple family, having my own struggles, inner struggles, to understand what this life is all about. And my parents or my environment was not able to give me the answers for my search. And I didn't even know that it was a spiritual search. And one weird thing that happened in my life was about the memories. There was one book in Kannada, in our language, written by Jagadatmananda, a Swamiji. It's all about how to live your life. So I had a lot of questions, conflicts. I think I was about 15 years old at the time, teenager. And I used to read that book like day in and out. Same book, it's a little one. And would keep on writing whatever is written there number of times. And that time I didn't know that these are my haunting questions about my path of spirituality. So then I never thought at that point of time that I was spiritual. And when I grew up, I had a lot of questions to my mother. And I would say, why do you light this lamp to the photo or whatever we have in the puja room? But she was so innocent. She had not seen the world. I'm talking about 60 years ago. And she had her own beliefs about God and all that. She found it very hard to answer my questions. So I used to get upset. So I used to tell her, if you don't tell me why we are lighting the lamp? Why should I light it? So she used to think that I'm a heretic. And I'm just gone out of my mind. And she had no hopes about me that I would lead a normal life.
And she was right.
But she was very negative about it, that she was worried. And in those days, being a girl means they have so many concepts about how a girl should be. And our family was a very conservative Brahmin family. And there were so many people at home. It's a joint family. If my memory is not wrong, about 22 people at home. My grandmother and then her sister, her family, and we were 10 children. And 2 of them died at a very young age. I had not seen. So there were eight of us. And that itself was a big world. We never wanted any outsiders as our guests or friends to be able to connect with. Our family itself was a world. So it was a beautiful learning when I look back, that with so many relationships and relating with each one of them, that was a world that I learned a lot. So that when I came out of that cocoon called the family life, I was able to relate with the world better.
When you came out of that cocoon.
Cocoon called a small family,
Okay.
And then come out and then start relating with the people around when I came for my post-graduation and stay in a hostel. And that was never allowed in our families. So I had to really fight with my father, and then, then I had to be very firm that this is what I want to do.
When did your fierce spiritual journey start?
I think after I met my guru, Swami Rama. But then
age?
It was in 1992. I think I was 29 or 30 years at that time. By then my marriage was over and I had a daughter also. She was 1 year old when I met him.
The place I am in life is, I think I've gotten fairly good at this job, being blessed a lot. This is a very luck-oriented job in terms of who comes your way. Where does your video actually reach? Tomorrow, has it reached the CM's house? Has it reached the PM's office? All that is very luck-based. How you can't control the machines of the modern world. There are phases where we don't get any incoming guests and we have to actually reach out to people to be on the show. And then there's weeks where months worth of guests come in together. So I've just understood over 5 years of doing this podcast that it's too luck-based and I'm not doing anything. Parallelly, lots of doors open up through this job. So when I go into the best of rooms with like the most accomplished entrepreneurs in our country, the most accomplished political leaders in our country, everyone has a lot of love for our work. We have a lot of adulation.
You're fortunate.
Yes. These are the blessings. Then some people question why I'm not doing even more. And then that makes me question, why am I not doing even more? Though I'm working every day, we're shooting every day, I don't think I have the capacity to do more than I'm doing. So then that leaves me in my meditation room at night, in my puja room. When I do that puja and I talk to my deity. And I say that I don't know what to do because I am really putting in 200% effort. There are days where I feel very contented. There's days where I feel very hungry for more. So at this point, with this confusion of contentment and hunger, I just put it at the deity's feet and I tell him that you figure what I'm supposed to do. My personal...
It will come your way. Dikhta hai. You can see that.
Hope so, ma'am.
See, once you are sensitive enough to these energies, you will see whether you are putting the effort or it is being happening. That difference you'll be able to know. For that, a little bit of meditation helps. Then you know that you are not doing, it's happening. It's happening. Can I connect with you with this kind of a... Suddenly it came to my mind. There was a time when can I be a little more elaborate on this?
Ma'am, just it's your house.
Okay. You don't know. I mean, once I start talking, I don't know where I am.
That's perfect.
So I'm holding myself back.
No, please.
Because there are cameras and people are waiting. There is a time limit and all that.
There's no time limit.
It's not to boast about myself. There are times when I've spoken for 10 hours non-stop. And people around me have listened to it. In our ashram, of course, in the retreats and all that, there is no time limit. Raat 3 o'clock tak chalta rehta hai gaadi. But I don't want to do that because so many people are waiting and then it's a very professional one. So I want to be very conscious about the time aspect. I will try my best. But then this one question has kind of opened up a big door of explanation.
Go for it.
So I'll try to be very brief. There is one senior disciple of my Gurudev, Swami Rama. He was Swami Vedabharati. And he opened up his meditation center as per his guru's instructions, called Meditation Center in Minneapolis, in America. Then he started working on that. People started coming. I'm talking about 40 years back, when even in the West, yoga was something very new, Swami Rama created a new wave. Then after a while, he came back to his guru and said, Swamiji, whatever you had asked me to do, I have done it and it's going on very good with your grace. So Swami Rama asked him, how many people have been able to touch on? How many people have become meditators? And what is the population in Minneapolis? He said, maybe I'm not very sure what is the number of the population. It's touching 1 million or something like that, he said. That means not even 1% you have touched the people. So don't come back to me saying that I have done it until you touch 1 million population. I want you making them, everyone a meditator. Right? So connecting to that, I was very much impressed by this episode when I heard it from Swami Vedabharati ji. It was going on in my mind. And when I travel a lot to US, Canada and all that, and meet so many people, even in India and all that, I used to come across this question. Like, people know about Paramahamsa Yogananda, right? But many people say they don't know who is Swami Rama. Maybe it's my attachment to my guru, doesn't matter. Somewhere I love attachment. So I used to feel bad. How is it that I know it's not a sentimental statement that I am making, that I am attached to my guru, that I am saying this, but he is a rarity among the rare yogis, and what contributions he has done to the world. But people are yet to know about him. So I used to be very depressed. How is it that Baba, I call him Baba, is not known to people like the way Paramahamsa Yogananda is known? घर घर की कहानी बनना चाहिए बाबा का, but not happening. Millions of people should come to know about it. Why it's not happening? So this used to be my prayer to my guru. I know you are not interested in all these things, that how many people come to know about you and all that. But the quantity and the quality of work that you have done in the path of Shri Vidya is yet to be opened up to the world. And when it's going to happen? And people should know more and more about your contributions, and you as a yogi, you as a guru. It's not yet been, explored by the people. So you talk about millions. You told Swami Vedabharati that you talk about touching millions and all that. When is it going to happen? For this century. According to me, is one of the greatest yogis that 20th century has ever seen. There is something called manifestation, which has been a very trendy word nowadays, right? And Shri Vidya and Shri Chakra is an expression of that manifestation power in perfection and in totality. That is the very first sentence that Swami Rama talks about when he talks about Shri Vidya.
It's the highest
power of my manifestation.
Okay.
Power of manifestation.
The most evolved form of the power of manifestation is Shri Vidya. Gotcha.
Yeah. So in that sense, how to manifest this, make it happen. So manifestation power, I had asked this question to my another Shri Vidya Guru from Mysuru. We call him Guru Galu. Galu, when we add it, is an expression of respect to Guru. Guru Garu in Telugu and Guru Galu in Kannada and all that. So we used to address him as Guru Galu. So one day I asked him about this manifestation power in Shri Vidya. What simple terms he used. I want the viewers to know about it. Still, I am trying to answer your question.
Take your time.
He said, see, Jyoti, it's very simple. You are standing here and there is a tree, say about 1 kilometer ahead of you. You are able to see the tree and you want to reach there to do something. Manifestation means even before your physical body goes there, you are already there. Can you see this? The beauty of this? When you are already there means what? You are still here thinking of the tree. You are already there and then you get into a process of going. This is what all top level yoga masters, gurus, sages, this is how they manifest. Coming back to your question again. So there is a saying that a fish in the pond, it always looks at the bird in the tree. And it always desires, however, when the time will come that I am going to be there. It's against nature. A fish cannot go onto the tree at all. It's against nature's law. But the fish wants to do this. Its power of manifestation is so perfected. Then it's already on the tree. The process of swimming out of the water, and then it needs the trunk of the tree to support it, and then it has to climb and then go onto the top twig and sit there and look around. That is its desire, no? From a higher level it wants to see. It just happens. Means manifestation power is something beyond nature's law. If the fish had to believe that it is confined to this nature's law, it would never even think of going onto the tree like a bird. But if the manifestation power is so very strong, nature also yields its way to you. It means to say you have mastered the elements of nature. So, today morning when I was in my meditation, I converse with my Guru. And I know he listens to me. I said, I am going for this podcast. I am sure you are going to be there with me, guiding me all the time. I don't have any doubts about it. And I had been asking you that I, in my lifetime, whatever this body has as lifespan, maybe 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it is, I'm already 67 now. But how is it possible for me to reach millions of people, to talk about my Guru and his yogic contributions and also about Shri Vidya? Because he had already predicted 30 years back that I would be like this. It did not come to me as a surprise. Though all the time I was resisting and desisting that I don't want to become a Guru. Because, the beauty and the enjoyment that you have being a disciple with such a great Guru can never match with the kind of position when we take up the Guru's job, Of course, we are not, in the tradition, we are never Gurus. We are not self-proclaimed Gurus. It just happens as a process. We always are the representatives
of the higher force.
We are just the tool or the instrument. So I was asking him, I said, I am doing the podcast and you gave me the answer, a long waiting question that I did not know that I would talk for a few hours. I don't even know how long the podcast is going to be. And it would reach millions through this Ranveer, who is a warrior. This is what it came about you. Early morning around 3:15, I woke up and I was just walking about. And this message came to me and I wrote it on this piece of paper. The seeker, Ranveer, the warrior spirited guy who is making Tantra, some word I have written it, it's there, the digital way, available or something like that, available to so many people in the digital way. So that is how that connectivity about you was revealed to me. So today morning it was a revelation to me that I just sit and speak and then millions of people listen to it. That means the manifestation power is that you being a fish, you don't have to swim and then go onto the land and then look for a tree and then climb up and then see the bigger vista and then try to reach out to people. See, in my mind was one-to-one. Reaching means one-to-one. कितने सालों तक कर सकती हूँ मैं? If I want to even to reach 1 million people, how is it going to happen? I was clueless how it's going to happen. And I used to think, that means I'll have to live for so many long years. I don't have such intentions. So how it is going to happen? Did I ask for something wrong and I'm trapped in this? Trapped in this body to do that? Then morning when I completed my meditation, I was so happy. That Baba ने इतने आसानी से ये path ढूंढ लिया मेरे लिए. It's just happening like this. See, I am not the person who watches podcast. I didn't know anything about podcast. Then one day, as my book release date was approaching, some of my students are in the media. So they were very particular that I should start doing podcast. And then I asked, what is this podcast? So they explained to me, this is what and all is. Then they showed me on YouTube and all how podcasts are being done and all that. They are trying to upgrade me with this information, digital world. Then I happened to see your podcast also. And then one day it popped up. Your podcast popped up. Otherwise, I didn't know how to go to that and then search and all that. Because it popped up, I saw. I felt that this fellow is a very wonderful soul. But there is something serious problem with his, Vishuddha chakra.
Which is Vishuddha?
Throat chakra. And that vagus nerve is, in spiritual way I'm talking about, nothing physical. Vagus nerve, because otherwise people don't understand what it is. Because that nerve can be, in a very loose term, we can say that it connects to Sushumna Nadi. Nadi is different from nerve. They are not one and the same. But for people to understand it better, vagus nerve means Westerners understand it very easily and doctors appreciate it better. So I'm using that word. So there is some kind of an energy blockage in him that is not allowing him to progress in this digital world that he's trying to do. In that, I think you have spoken about how you were struggling to do this and then you went to the temple. It's Mother Divine Temple or Krishna Temple.
Right.
And there you sat and meditated. And you also said, I didn't know what to meditate and all that. And then some kind of a thing happened and you had some experience. I vaguely remember that.
Yes.
And after that, I was listening to that perhaps. Then I felt that if by grace, this block gets removed, he's going to be a fantastic person. He's going to do something amazing in this field. And I feel so motherly about him.
Same. The feelings.
This is the word I used. I didn't say he looks like my son. No. I said I feel very motherly about this fellow.
Thank you, ma'am. My week is made, year is made.
Some of our students used to say, Ma, one day you should do Ranveer's podcast. So, हाँ हो जाएगा. And I knew very well that I would be here.
I remember the podcast you're speaking about, and I remember the experience I had in the Krishna temple. It was a Krishna temple very close to my childhood home, and I was struggling to adapt into speaking Hindi. But the thing is, if you want to shift something in our country, you have to speak the language of the masses. So I'd actually tried for 6 months to start a Hindi podcast, and just wasn't happening. Hindi wasn't flowing out, and I sat in that temple out of frustration, and I sat for very long, and I felt something opening up in my throat. So right, very very shortly after that, we started our Hindi phase. Do you still feel the?
It's not 100% clear. हो रहा है.
Okay. I have some burning questions which I'm not able to forget, and they're not exactly related to what we just spoke about, but I'm just going to place them in front of you. One burning question I've had since the start of this interaction is what is Swami Rama's message for 2025?
2025, interestingly, is going to be the birth centenary celebration. 100 years. He was born in 1925.
I'm not saying this for cinematic value, but I do think that next year is going to be a little rough for the world. So there's some message about this coming year that has to come out through this episode.
Okay.
I don't know what. Just over to you. And if you don't want to address next year, up to you. But maybe I can generalize the question and ask you about the message for the times that we live in.
Okay. Message for the last quarter of 2024 and 2025. People are always worried about the rough passages in time. It has been going on. It's not just about the feature of the 21st century or modern age. Rough passages have always been there as long as humanity exists in this world. The thing is, instead of focusing on the rough passages or difficult times which are going to come, we have to focus on how to strengthen ourselves always. Strength is the key to face anything in this world. When the situation came, people were talking about it, but it came, and then whatever disaster it had to do, did. And we felt we were unprepared for it. Right? So this is nature's law. But keeping that apart, the purpose of human life, with all his intelligence, capacity to do amazing things, and all that, the purpose of human life, taking the body of a human, is to realize the self. Self-realization is your birthright. So Swami Rama used to always say, know thyself, in a typical biblical way. Know thyself. Until you know yourself at all levels. What are those all levels? Your physical body, your pranic body, or your breathing, your breath, your emotions, your thought processes, your mind, your intellect. And then sometimes, if you are fortunate, experience that state of happiness. Everybody experiences it, but they are clueless. If you know all these levels, then it's good to say that you know yourself. That is the only purpose of life. So the message for the coming ages is that everybody should focus on knowing oneself at all these levels in very simple ways. Spirituality is never a difficult proposition. This complex mind has made it very difficult. In India, Advaita philosophy is very famous, non-dualistic nature of consciousness. To the extent Tantra goes to say, Tantra and Shri Vidya and all that, they go to the extent of saying, you are divine. You are divine personified. You are divinity itself. Amritatva Purushaha. Upanishad say, you are the son of immortality.
Wow.
But then when I say this, the immediate question that comes to the listener's mind is, if so, how is it that I am not able to experience it or realize it or understand it?
Societal blockages?
No. Societal comes much later. We are born with our own limiting beliefs and conditioned mind.
We're born with a conditioned mind.
That's why we are born again and again. If you remove all the conditions of the mind, you are enlightened.
And the conditions of the mind get added over lifetimes.
In the name of living.
Because of society?
Society is an external reason. Who do you call society? I am also part of the society, right? How can I exclude myself and say it is separate? So it is an interaction with other human beings, would be a better expression.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you here with
No problem.
angles. I have a very close friend of mine. He's like an elder brother. It's his birthday today. His name is Nikhil Kamath. He also...
On Teacher's Day.
Yeah. And I've learnt a lot about growing up from him. You know, he's an elder brother figure. He gives me advice. He runs
How old is he?
6 years older than me.
36, 37.
Yes. Very, very well read, knowledgeable person. I don't think he is atheist. I don't even think he's agnostic. I do believe that in his core he's a seeker, but he won't say that himself out loud, according to me. On his own podcast, he was discussing God once. And he said something interesting. He said that if he asked one of his guests that if I put you in a box from the time you're born and no one ever tells you about religion or God, and you grow up in that box, then as an adult, would you question the existence of God or divinity or that higher power? Now that took me to a book I read a long time ago. It was called Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. He spoke about the origins of the thoughts of God in hunter-gatherers. Basically, when we were Stone Age people, where was the first thought of God that entered our heads? And he said that probably existentialism, thinking that, hey, why am I here? Why are these trees green? Why is the sky blue? Why are my hands and feet like this? These self-awareness based questions were probably what nomadic hunter-gatherers thought of. And that's where the concept of God got shaped up. It also parallelly takes me to Native American culture, which is much older than what we are told according to our textbooks.
Red Indians.
Yes. They had these underground temples that they had built out. And even, you know, in Britain, we have the Stonehenge. So I think this concept of temples, God has been there since the Stone Age for human beings, for Homo sapiens. My question is, how did we somewhere along the way figure Tantra? How did we start connecting these practices that we do with like Japmala or mantras to that Stone Age human existential question about the higher power, about divinity? And then on some level, I also know that it was the will of the deities to place those thoughts into our heads. Now the thing is, it's taken 1,000 or more lifetimes for you to become what you are, Ma, and for me to become what I am. But if you go back to lifetime number 1 as a human being, we were probably Stone Age people just thinking about, oh, why is the sky blue? So I will just place all these thought bubbles in front of you. Coming back to what my friend Nikhil told me about that box theory. And that's where a lot of agnostic people actually get stuck on that question of God. in terms of people ask themselves that am I conditioned into believing that there's a God? So let's talk about conditioning over 1,000 lifetimes, starting from the Stone Age. Or you can just tell me whatever you think of what I just spoke about. So there's no solid question here. It's just a discussion.
30, 40 years I have contemplated on this. Shri Vidya has such beautiful answers for all this. It's such a beautiful science, spiritual science.
You're also talking about conditioning, right?
I'm not going to talk about Shri Vidya.
Okay.
But what I'm going to say about, for your question, is inspired by Shri Vidya thoughts. Okay? God is an expression of collective consciousness. God is made in the image of man. That is what Bible says. God is made in the image of man. If you come to our way of, understanding God and all that, we have thousands of gods and all that. Let's not complicate that. We say God is an expression of collective consciousness. For example, I am a Devi Upasaka. As you said, if you are put in a box and then you grow up into adulthood. Now with the digital world, all interactions are happening and we know what is West, what is East and all that. But when nothing was of that sort was there, we were conditioned by this very concept of Godhood by our own environments. So, why God is like us? If you look at Bhagavati or a female deity, she is like another female. Plus, she has something more. We have 2 hands. She may have 6 or 10 or 12, 16, depending on the symbolism that is worked out in these images. Image of God is a good dharana. Dharana means focus or concentration in simple terms. But dharana is a technical word in yoga and Shri Vidya and all that. It's much more than that. So, this very concept of God is a mental manifestation. When I say this, I am not denying the extraordinary powers of divinity. This is how I am trying to perceive God in the human form. Or some people may want to see it in the form of a stone. Some people may see God in the sense something superior to me.
Yes.
As lightning, or rains, or sun, or moon, or a tree. In India, a big stone under a tree can become a god. How does it become?
Pran Shakti.
Exactly. I use my bhavana, power of imagination, kalpana, emotions, kalpana, bhavana, kalpana, put together. They are excellent 2 mental energies.
Emotions and
Imagination. Kalpana is imagination. So you imagine things. So this very concept of God, source, is in our own thought process, our emotions and our imagination. I know it's very hard to accept for many people, but that's the truth.
But also divinity is the truth.
I am coming to that next.
Okay.
So I want to manifest God in different ways. This is exactly the reason so many hundreds and thousands of gods are allowed in this country. Because each one would be manifesting the God according to his or her karma, samskara, vasanas.
Vasanas. Once karma, got it. Samskaras are carryovers from lifetimes and your personality traits. What is vasana?
Vasana is that which resides in you. Meaning of vasana is, it also means smelling, But also, it's a technical word used in Vedanta and yoga. Vasana, that which already resides in you, means what? We are born like that. For example, to make people, viewers understand, there is a incense stick which you have lighted, and the fragrance is coming out of it, and the whole incense stick burns down. It's only ash left over, and it's no longer burning, but still the fragrance is in the environment. This fragrance, after the action is over, that fragrance which still resides in this room can be compared to a vasana.
You know what I'm visualizing? Gut bacteria. Like in your gut, there's multiple different microorganisms, and that's an outcome of what you eat. So if you go to America and have food that's grown there, your gut bacteria will slightly get altered. And I know I'm boiling down vasana, which is probably a much higher level thought, down to food.
No, it's not
No?
vasana. See, our mind is structured in such a way that there are 3 layers. And they are called Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti. To simplify, unconscious mind, subconscious mind, and conscious mind. There is so much of interaction taking place among these 3 layers of the mind. There are memories, there are happy memories, bad memories, and there are so many emotions, thought processes continuously interacting with each other. That's called chitta, storehouse of everything. And in that, this vasana is the bedrock on which all these layers of the mind is residing. So, for example, a child, it doesn't know anything about sex. But as it grows up, when it reaches puberty, naturally the feeling of sex, everything comes from where? Modern science says it is natural in the body, hormones, ye wo bolte hain. But yoga and spiritual path has another way of saying that these are the vasanas which are already there in you. That is why you are sent here.
Instinct?
No, it's much more than that.
Pre-programming?
Yes,
Okay. Like how...
at the DNA level.
Got it. Like how when you have a seed, you put it in the earth,
Yeah.
comes out, suddenly your mangoes come out of that one seed.
So, neem fruit cannot come out of a mango tree, right? That
Gotcha.
connection, nature's law
Gotcha.
is there. So, these are the vasanas which always govern our external actions.
So, will a citizen of Ghana have different vasanas than a citizen of Afghanistan?
Vasanas are universal.
All human beings.
Yes,
Got it.
they are universal. But according to the environment in which you are brought up or you are born, you pick up lot of samskaras and karmas and all that. That makes a kind of a permutation combination for you to become what your personality is.
Okay. Coming back to the overarching conversation, what were these 3 points leading up to? You said that karma, vasana.
Karma, samskara, vasanas.
Yeah.
You know, what was I saying about that?
These 3 things determine something. You were...
Yeah, about the concept of God.
Yes.
So, in India, why there are so many gods? How democratic this concept of God is. For each samskara of that person, depending on as an outcome of the environment and the interactions with life, what he has already received as an image of his own self, according to that, he would choose the God.
Gotcha. Understood.
For a villager, a rustic who has not seen the world, who is not educated, but he has the same emotions, same thoughts. Thoughts, emotions, and samskaras, vasanas are universal. So he will be appealed. He gets appealed by certain kind of God. The appearance wise and all that. So in Karnataka, in the local sense, There are so many deities in the villages. In every state it is there. And only certain set of people get attracted to that god, and they go there with total trust and belief in that, and it works for them. So, every god is not made for everybody. Because we ourselves have created it from the mental image of it. Now, God is, according to Shri Vidya also, without name and without form. Name and form. Nama Rupa. Bhagavati is addressed as Nama Rupa Vivarjitayai Namaha in Lalita Sahasranama. She doesn't have a name. She doesn't have form. But we see both. We call her with so many. Sahasranama means 1000 names. And we see different forms of Bhagavati. I'm talking about just one God. Like that, thousands of God, thousands of forms, thousands of names, perhaps millions. Is it really needed? Yes, it is needed. Because it's ultimately doesn't matter how many gods are there. There's no reason to rationing it. Ultimately, what matters is what appeals to you so that your purpose of life is served through that God. So our concept of God is very democratic.
Gotcha.
And Nama and Rupa, we give. And in Bhagavati's Mahatmya, she says, I don't have name and form, but I take the human form out of compassion for the scattered mind. This is something very interesting. Scattered mind. If you want to attain the highest of Godhood, then your understanding of Nama and Rupa first gets shattered. I used to ask several questions to my Shri Vidya Guru. Then he used to say, do your sadhana. Keep doing it. Then the day will come when you will see that what Bhagavati, what you had thought of Bhagavati, doesn't remain the same when you go to higher realms of your meditation and practices and all that. And if you look at it, the kind of gods we create, including all gods, is also a mental conditioning. So if you want to see the mother goddess as Nama Rupa Vivarjita, without, devoid of name and form, you have to decondition yourself about that.
Does the deconditioning happen through practice?
Yes.
Right? So you practice and you keep climbing up the
knowledge, jnana. Jnana which comes to you in silence. It's not taught.
Downloads.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's open up a whole new chapter of this conversation. Okay. I call it snakes and ladders. Like the game. So you make a mistake, you hit a snake, and then you go down. And then as you keep practicing,
you make less mistakes.
Yes, as you keep making less mistakes, maybe something will happen in your life and you climb up a ladder and suddenly go up.
Yeah.
The thing is, most of us learn about the Buddha in school. And I think for a lot of people, that first introduction, at least in our country, about nirvana or moksha comes from learning about the Buddha in our history textbooks. At least for me and all my friends, that's been the case.
Same here.
Right? And like even this was given to us by a Buddhist monk. A Hindu scholar once told me that the fundamental difference between Buddhism and Hinduism is this. So this represents shunya. And that's what
emptiness.
Yes. Buddhism says that you keep meditating and purifying yourself until you become shunya, until you become nothingness. Now, we've had Rajarshi Nandi sir on the show multiple times. We've had multiple Hindu scholars on the show. And they keep speaking about the realms of consciousness beyond moksha and nirvana. So when we're visualizing that snakes and ladders board for most of our lives, we visualize that last square as the point of moksha and winning the game. But apparently there is higher states of consciousness way beyond moksha. that's where I will place the level of consciousness of the rishis that we read about. Like Agastya Rishi. And the other rishis that we
Why are
read.
you bringing his name? Agastya Rishi.
I don't know. It just... Because it came up in our research.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Or all the rishis. My understanding of this whole concept is when you finish that board of snakes and ladders and you reach that point of moksha, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you're given an option of escaping the cycle of birth and death, and you're given a doorway out of the realm that we exist in called the Bhulok. And everything that we've discussed on the podcast, not just today, but over the course of running this podcast, about different pathways of Tantra, different pathways of liberation, self-realization, Kriya Yoga, all that, gets you to that point. Very rarely on the show have we discussed the stages beyond that point. We also discussed manifestation earlier on in this episode. I believe that that's a bonus outcome of chasing that final square.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if you think like I'm saying something wrong. Okay, so the human mind is capable of manifestation. The more spiritualized you get, the stronger your power of manifestation gets. But what if instead of manifesting a material gift, you're just manifesting that last square, saying that God, no, I just want to manifest being one with you. So there's 2-3 questions here. Let's talk about that journey up till that last square, place manifestation there. And then let's talk about the game that gets unlocked after the snakes and ladder.
Nice. Mm.
Wherever you wish to begin this. Because in my eyes, human life begins in your first memories. So in video games, there's third-person games where the camera is placed behind the character. And then there's first-person games where you see the game through the eyes of the character. That's effectively this body and this realm that we're stuck in. We're seeing it through the limitations of our own body. You keep practicing, you keep meditating, you keep accumulating knowledge. Suddenly you're able to break out of first person and kind of go wherever you want. Very rudimentary modern way of explaining what I've understood through the show. I'll let you take over.
Have you heard of Kashmir Shaivism?
Yes.
And Shri Vidya vows a lot. It's inspired by Kashmir Shaivism. Siddhant.
Siddhant?
Siddhant means a ready concept of what it is. Gotcha. A ready-made concept. Is Siddhant, philosophy. We have already found the end of what it is. Similarly, we have Vedanta. For Vedanta, the key statement is Aham Brahmasmi. It's coming closer to what you are asking. In Kashmir Shaivism, they say Shivoham. Soham and Shivoham.
Wow.
The question is, suppose I say that Aham Brahmasmi. Each one's reactions could be different. How do you say that you are Brahman? They may ask. They may not trust me also. So many things might happen when I make a statement like that. Why does such a thing happen? Maybe I am being vague to begin with, but I will definitely arrive at it. When I say I am divine, people cannot believe. That's why they want this exhibition of siddhis. Siddhis are meant to destroy you. Siddhis are meant to distract you. That's a different chapter. I will not go into that. But unless you demonstrate some siddhi, you are not considered as Brahman. Even if I 1,000 times shout, proclaim that I am Brahmasmi, I am Brahmasmi. The problem with the human mind is that it is caught up in so much of limitations in terms of the physical body, in terms of emotional body, pranic body, intellectual body, that it becomes such a complex limitation that their granthis inside are locked up. I will come to that later. It's very hard for even for them to think that if somebody says I am divine, how can I become divine? This is the problem with the mind, not the truth. The truth is, I am already divine. So in Shri Vidya, I'm just sprinkling it. In Shri Vidya, there is a technique called bhavana. Bhavana is a technical word. It means a particular stylized spiritual attention to something, one thing. Bhavana. It's not just emotion, but it is based on emotion. So there is a whole text, Upanishad called Bhavana Upanishad. It is the core of Shri Vidya understanding. It has only 36 lines, means shlokas, or you can call it mantras. But it is talking about the entire Pindanda, the microcosm that I am. So there is nothing religious about Shri Vidya. It's purely a spiritual science. The things that people talk about, they are all symbols in Tantra. It can be understood in universal ways. So this bhavana is a very important element taught in a systematic way, which each one takes it in a different way. Technique is the same, depending on his capacity to accept that level. So, for example, take Ramana Maharshi. For Ramana Maharshi, that one experience of death in his young body was enough to realize that he is divine. Like that, you find so many examples. But if the same experience happens to somebody else, many people have death experiences, but it's not the same like what Ramana Maharshi went through. It means what? It means his spiritual attainments in his past lives have accumulated to bring him into the last body, human body, where he had to just go through the little bit that was remaining. Then it is final. It's done for him. So to experience divine is difficult for the human mind. But the truth is, we are divine. So what you have to do, Swami Rama says in a beautiful way, you don't need to do anything to be divine. You are already divine. What you need to do is to chop off all the non-essentials that you have in you. Take the example of a boulder, a big stone. For us, it's an ordinary stone. But for an architect, a sculptor, that is the better word, sculptor, can see already the murti in that. What does he do? He will remove, chop off all the non-essential in that stone. From inside, it has already manifested as murti, fit for worshipping, whatever it is. So I have an ordinary mind, whereas a sculptor has a perception. He can perceive things which the ordinary mind cannot perceive. This is the difference between one person to another to realize God.
Wow.
But it's a continuous journey.
So that ability to perceive the murti within the block is actually...
Similarly, to perceive the divinity in my body.
Wow. So as you move forward in your own practice and love, devotion, that ability to perceive the divinity in yourself keeps improving. You're able to see the murti more and more and sculpt it better.
And then also, after you do that, then it will say, this is not the thing. This is not what divinity is.
Are you talking about that last block on the snake and ladder? So when you reach...
So this is the process of going through the ladder, up the ladder, that you keep exploring. That is why a guru is not common to all. Though Guru may initiate hundreds and thousands of people, but Guru is always initiating one-to-one. Means for each one, it's a different exploration to find out what God is, because ultimately he cannot be described. One of my friends who is also in the path of Shri Vidya and is connected to Swami Rama, he's abroad. He sent me a message. He said, Bhagavati came in my dream and she told me that stop addressing me as mother. I am much more than mother. She said, address me as Shakti. So, we start with this mother Upasana. In Shakta, it is the feminine deity is looked upon as mother. Why? Because this is one relationship the mind cherishes most. So, this whole process is a manifestation of the mind itself to reach that one. This is the ladder, snake and ladder. Then we go through different stages. Let me connect with my own experience.
Sure.
Like you, I was very fond of Krishna. And as dancers, you know how much we glorify about Krishna. The child Krishna and the adult Krishna. It's an endless glorification of Krishna. So when I went to my Shri Vidya Guru, I said my Ishta Devata is Krishna. Then he looked at me seriously and he said, I don't know about all that. He said, if you can merge your Krishna into the Mother Divine, I can help you out. And then you will realize that it's not even Krishna, it is not even Mother Divine, nothing. But I can help you. Somewhere you have to make a starting point. If you keep Krishna as the starting point, you have to go to somebody else. The starting point that I am capable of giving you is this, Divine Mother. So, the path that you want to choose also matters.
But how did you know that he is your guru?
That is another question.
Okay.
If you remind me, I'll come back to it later.
Okay.
So, I said it's very difficult for me because I love Krishna. I love Mother also. Because we show in dance, Kali, Durga, everybody, we are very universal that way. Shiva is also our God. But I had some special affinity in the corner of my mind for Krishna. Then he said, go back, think about it, take your time, then you come back to me. I thought, but I could not conclude about that because I was so much attached to Krishna. Then I remembered that it is my Guru, Swami Rama, after leaving his body, he came and gave the instruction that I have to go to this Guru and learn Shri Vidya in the Dakshinachara. Okay. Oh, this is another burden, I thought. I was very reluctant to go to one more Guru. All that I have written in my book as my autobiography. But I had to because Guru's word is a command. This is what I have accepted in my life. I cannot say no to what he does because it's my 100% conviction that whatever he says, whatever he does, it's always for my good. Though initially I may resist, I may not like it, I may think that it is not good for me, I may think like that. That's my limited thinking. So ultimately, what is going to happen is something fabulous. So this is the unwritten contract between the Guru and the disciple. I wish you take up this as a separate topic of discussion. Guru disciple. Many people don't know. But those people come for initiation to me. They have peculiar concepts about what Guru is. Oh, it is a very hard task for me to enlighten them as to what Guru is all about. People don't know. They need to be educated. So then I went back to him. I said, Guru Gale, I don't know anything. I just place my problem at your feet. You do whatever you want to do. Okay, don't worry. You'll be fine. Then I took to Shri Vidya from him in Dakshinachara. I'm talking about this ladder and snake one, right? Then I came to the last but one mantra. There is a curriculum, systematic curriculum. It's very well evolved. Dakshinachara, it's a very well evolved one. That's called Panchadashi mantra. Means mantra of 15 letters. Pancha is 5, Dasha is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. Panchadashi mantra. I was doing that. And for every mantra, there is a dhyana shloka. Dhyana shloka means you meditate upon the God with a particular form. The description of that Devi, the aspect of that Devi, how she looks like. It's all for this scattered mind to focus on. Actually, these are all symbols later on. And then you'll be left with the sense of, I started with this snake and ladder thing. And then as I move up the ladder, I know this is not what I thought. This is not what I saw. This is not what I experienced. Neti, no. Like you open the onion layers. What is left towards the end? Nothing. Then at that point of time, it has a great message for everybody on this earth. And one day what happened, after 3-4 days of my taking the mantra, with great interest I was doing. I would put my whole and soul into that and do it. A most enjoyable time of my life with my Surgurugalu. Extraordinary Shri Vidya adept. And he kept to himself as an ordinary householder with a dhoti, one shirt at home. Nothing visible. Anyway, that is another chapter. Then, after 15 days, I went to my Gurugalu, and then he's very informal. He would never put up his in his physicality or anything that he's a guru. When it is not mantra initiation, means he's your friend. You can talk anything. You can ask anything.
What do you mean when there's not mantra initiation?
When he is giving the mantra, he becomes divine.
Okay.
He is Mother Divine. We can see that. And the energy passing through and then entering our. That is what is mantra initiation. It's not just the verbal words that are given to you. And not just the guru, physical guru in front of us. The whole host of gurus in the lineage are standing there when the mantra initiation happens. This is my direct first-hand experience. So I was doing the condition is that I have to do the dhyana shloka and then only take to the mantra japa. It's a description of the Mother Divine. Chapam, chekshumayam, prasona, vishika. It goes on like that. So each word stands for some meaning like that. And there comes a line where it says that she is playing the veena. Playing the veena. So I close my eyes and then mentally chanting and then I am visualizing. Visualization is a very beautiful technique in a very big way in Shri Vidya. Then the photo is also given to us, how she looks like and all that. That is Murti in the form of a picture. Suddenly what happened to me was, to my inner eye, Bhagavati's picture I was imagining, suddenly she became alive. Alive, and she decided to show me something very interesting. Her grace is so motherly, so sweet, so graceful. Words don't suffice to explain her relationship. It's just not possible. Words fail. Then she's sitting and I'm also a dancer. I know the pose, how somebody holds the veena and plays, and the posture, expression, everything. It's ingrained. She became so alive. Again, it is a mental picture. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Huh?
But you could see it with your eyes?
Yeah. Not with my open eyes.
Understood.
Then she started playing the veena. She's playing a little bit and looking at me and smiling. And such a beautiful smile I am at to see. And again she would play. Then I forgot my Dhyana Shloka to chant further. Forgot my mantra, everything. I'm just lost in that ecstasy of that vision. Then what happened? Suddenly, in the place of Mother Divine, my Parameshchi Guru, Brahma Vidyanandanatha, his name is, he was sitting in the same posture and playing the same veena. How do you like it? And he's looking at the veena and playing and looking at me and smiling. So for a minute it is Brahma Vidyanandanatha, next second it is Bhagavati. It went on for, she only knows how long. I was lost. There was no physical awareness or time or nothing of that kind where I was.
How many years of Shri Vidya Upasana had you done before this point?
Before this point, with Swami Rama, it was already 10, 12 years. After that, he asked me to go to him and learn again from ABCD. But that was the worthwhile time. Because that's what a guru, when he says something, it's for our good. Then it kept on happening. And then I realized that it's more than an hour I'm sitting like that. And I have not done my japa for today. Lakhs and lakhs we have to do the japa. One day is lost means so much you are behind. It's racing with time and calculations and all that. But at one point of time I gave up. I'm not going to race with this japa and lakhs and all that. I want to enjoy my sadhana. That's it. So next time when I went after 15 days to meet my guru, he had told me, you are bound to get many experiences. Don't share even with your husband, he would say. Spiritual jealousy, competition can come at any point with any relationship. That is a condition. To my husband also he would tell the same thing. You don't share it with your wife. Not with your parents, nobody, not even with your friends. When you have, you come and share it with me. If you need to be corrected, I will correct you. Otherwise, go ahead with the practice. But that day I went and then he was in a very jolly mood. He was a master of danceology, musicology, anything you name under the sun, he can talk for hours. So it was going on and we were enjoying his talk. And totally I forgot about the very purpose of my going to share this experience. And when I came out, saying, Gurukule, I'm leaving. He is so courteous. He would come up to the gate and then say, send me off. Then suddenly I remembered, I'm so sorry, Gurukule, I wanted to share this with you, but we are already out of the house. You are standing. I don't want you to stand and listen to me. I said, no issues. You can tell me right away, he said. Then I shared this experience with him. And I said, after this experience, it's so intoxicating that I don't want to go further. I want to chant up to that point and then wait for that experience to happen and all that. Somewhere deep within me, I am seeing that I am not going in the right way. I am getting stuck. Not interested in the mantra also. Nothing. As though I have reached the end point. You are asking now? Up the ladder, this is the last point. Oh, I have experienced the Divine Mother. What is more there to do any sadhana? Not interested. I want to be happy in this. Like this. Suddenly, my Guru's face became very serious. So serious that I got frightened that something seriously has gone wrong with me. Then he just closed his eyes, and then when he opened his eyes, he said, don't worry about anything good or bad. It's a good experience. Keep it like that. But from now onwards, you are not going to do the Dhyana Shloka. Just do the mantra. While doing the mantra, if you have any problem, you come back to me. I will set it right. You are not going to touch upon that. It took so many years for me to understand why he did that at that point of time. I asked him. He said, even if I tell you, you will not able to understand. Don't complicate the issue. Just drop it. you are not going to lose anything. Then over the years of contemplation and further experiences, I thought that could have been my second or third ladder up the snake and ladder thing. I would have fallen down because there were so many steps to climb, and I thought I have reached the destination and I was about to get out of the train. This is how Guru directs you, Guru protects you, and systematic guidance.
Can I pause this story just for a second to bring it back to a beginner's perspective? Because we've had a couple of Shri Vidya episodes before this. Are you comfortable, I mean loosely, not fully technically, but loosely sharing the beginning points of Shri Vidya Upasana? Just for more context. Like, of course, a guru has to guide you through it.
Without initiation, nothing happens in Shri Vidya.
Someone has to initiate you. The most specific question I'm asking is, say, for a viewer watching this podcast till this point, who's interested in taking up Shri Vidya, the obvious human society questions that come up is, how much time in a day will I have to give this? Where do I find a guru? What is Shri Vidya? How should I emotionally
How am I eligible?
Yes.
These are the questions, it keeps coming on my Instagram.
This is a question I have as well. You know, that how...
I am surprised you have this question.
What, am I eligible?
No, these are the questions.
The question I have is, I'm so into my Bhairav Upasana right now. And I meet so many Shri Vidya Upasaks. But I'm very into the Bhairav stuff because it's like suiting me and my personality, I feel, to some degree.
You have so much of energy pent up in you. You have to release it, no? Bhairava is the right choice for you.
Yeah? That's how you look at it? Okay.
Something more also.
Okay. So yeah, beginners level questions about Shri Vidya.
I think, in the book I have written, I don't know. I met Kal Bhairav in Kashi. I have that episode included in this.
Okay.
Yeah. You would love to listen to about that episode since you are doing his Upasana.
We will do it after this point because there's a lot of Bhairav Upasaks watching this
Is there?
episode. Yes. There's a upsurge of Bhairav Upasana in our country.
Yeah, I know.
I know I'm a part of it and it's not by choice. It's like, I feel like Bhairav has like chosen me. I got done with a Anushthan recently. And towards the end of my Anushthan, I was not enjoying it at all. To the degree where I was almost detaching myself from Kal Bhairav. And the moment the Anushthan got done, I've fallen in love with my elder brother again. So now I can see him everywhere again. So I'm like, what is this Leela? I don't know, but I know I'm supposed to be here.
Nice, use the word Leela. Lalita Upasana, what we do, Lalita means Leela.
Yeah.
So Shri Vidya, maybe people would be disappointed to listen to me because I don't give traditional, conventional answers. Because my guru did not train me up in Shri Vidya in that way. Because in many podcasts on Shri Vidya, what you have done, I have also watched some of them, not fully, here and there, just to get the feeling of what it is, what the other person is trying to tell about Shri Vidya and all that. The approach that Guru gave to me was totally universal and not a conventional one. See, if you want to take up a yoga practice, Ashtanga yoga, scriptures say that you have to start with yama, niyama, and then only you can come to asana. Tell me how many people teach or people who are ready to learn yamas and niyamas first and then come to the asana? No. Now the mind is hybrid variety. It wants to just pick up like this. As you said, how much time I will have to invest on this? That will be the very first question. They want to bargain even with the divinity. Bargaining is there deep within us.
Yeah.
Because of why this bargaining? There is so much of imperfection in us that sitting here at this point of time, I'm not able to grasp what that perfection is. So I look for shortcuts. So Swami Rama says, Shri Vidya is the shortest of all the cuts. And the way he talks about Shri Vidya, so far I have not heard anybody on YouTube's. Something very revolutionary, something very out of the world. And it just appeals to you. And talking about, you have done so many episodes on this Tantra, on Kaula, and then Mishra, and then Samayachara, and all that, So I was curious what Swami Rama has got to say about it. So I was flipping through his book, Royal Path. In that, in the last chapter, he has discussed about Tantra. And in that, 2 pages on Shri Vidya. And he said there are 3 schools of Tantra. I'm repeating what he's saying. That is Kaula, Mishra, and then Samayachara. Whatever the practices these 3 Tantras have propagated, ultimately, they are talking about different states of consciousness. That is, that you are. Can it be simplified further? Not. If you ask a traditional person who is brought up in this kind of a thing, he wouldn't give this kind of an explanation at all. It means that if somebody can talk like that as the ultimate, he must have mastered all these elements that he is able to see that, perceive, that perception I'm talking about. Talking about Dasha Mahavidyas, you have so many episodes. I was not really interested in Dasha Mahavidyas, but once I happened to ask my Guru, now that I have completed, after I completed my curriculum in Shri Vidya, that is Lalita Tripura Sundari, and she is the 3rd one in the Dasha Mahavidya sequence. So I asked him, now that you say that this mantra initiation thing is all over, now you have to just practice on your own. Gurugale, does it mean that, can I think of getting into other Mahavidyas among the Mahavidyas? Very simple answer he gave. It's your call. If you want to go into the details of other ones also, you can do it. But there is one more practice in Shri Vidya itself, which I have not taught you directly. But later on, Sage Agastya came and taught me that in a fraction of a second. That's called Titi Nitya Upasana. He said, if you want, you can spend more time on that. But it's your freedom. If you want to go into all the Mahavidyas, it's fine. Then, I don't remember whether it was Swami Rama or he, or because so many sages also come in my, I don't remember exactly. They have to correct me or pardon me if I am wrong. That Dasha Mahavidyas, the ultimate state, understanding. I have heard elaborate YouTubes on that. Some of them are very interesting and impressive and more of facts and figures. But Swami Rama says, you don't need to learn many things in life. But definitely, you need to practice what you have learned. I believe in that. So I was very reluctant about, but still that question was there, why these so many 10 Vidyas? Then the answer is, I don't know who gave it to me. They are all, Dasha Mahavidyas are different states of consciousness again. That's something hit me like a dynamite. And these Vidyas, Devis are classified into 3 categories. And you know Trigunas, Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. When this whole universe is made up of these 3 materials, that's why it's called a material world. So we are also part of that. All of us have these 3 qualities. And a person is labeled as something depending on what percentage of that Triguna is dominant. Somebody is called Sattvic, somebody is called Rajasic, somebody is called Tamasic. But all the 3 are present in all of us. So Dasha Mahavidyas are, the tantric perspective is that these sadhanas should help all the 3 categories of people. If somebody is very tamasic, still he is eligible who is eligible for Shri Vidya, Tantra and all that? It's an indirect answer I'm trying to give to you. Then they can take up Kali. They can take up Chinnamasta. Chinnamasta was the family deity of my Parama Guru Bengali Baba. And he gave me the direct experience of Chinnamasta that I have shared it in this book. What I'm trying to say is, you can start your sadhana from wherever you are. That there is no need as such to start with yamas and niyamas. Purify yourself. This is the difference that you claim in Tantra. That Tantra accepts you as you are, wherever you are, however you are, whatever you are. And from there onwards, the Guru will initiate you to the next levels. He will not wait until you become purified, this, that and all. What is a purification? Purification is to purify your tattvas and these three gunas. And Shri Vidya mantras are capable of doing it for you.
The listeners who are listening to this podcast until this point, who heard you saying that, hey, you can start it yourself even without a guru. What's the practical step to start?
Practical step is, whatever you get, suppose in your house somebody has put Vishnu Sahasranama on the YouTube. You happen to accidentally listen to it. If you get appealed, you feel it's so good, let me practice it, or every day listen to it. That's how most of the people start these practices. You pick it up. You start doing that. If you are very much keen on doing that, that interest from within will tell you. And you continue to do it. Like thousands of people do Lalita Sahasranama without initiation. But without initiation, the subtler aspect of Lalita Sahasranama or Durga Saptashati will not be unlocked for you unless Bhagavati wishes it. See, Bhagavati is not a dormant energy. She is a dynamic energy. She is intelligence herself. The intelligence which has created the Brahmanda. I would say you should not use even the word created. She herself is Brahmanda. When you say created, you need another material. You are different from the material and you create something. Then it's undermining the power of Bhagavati. She herself is an expression of Brahmanda. She knows every devotee.
Okay.
She is monitoring. You are on her this hotline connection. Then Bhagavati herself might direct you depending on your karma samskara vasanas and your power to receive the messages from her.
By sending you the right people or situations, right? That's what you say. But the first step is you can take up the Durga
Anything that you want. It need not be related to the Mother Divine.
Whatever.
Gayatri mantra, Mrityunjaya mantra, anything. Because at a subtler plane, even to come to that mantra, it is her inspiration. But we wouldn't know that she only brought us silently into this path.
How is this the Shri Vidya path? Isn't this just the spiritual path?
Shri Vidya is the big umbrella under which all the mantras come. Gotcha. People may not like it because when I say mantras, I am not referring to the words in the mantra. Means Bhurbhuvasvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Yes, they are mantras. In Shri Vidya, in Tantric parlance, mantra means is Bijaksharas. And that letter, Akshara. Akshara is that which cannot be destroyed. Kshara, Akshara. Kshara means death or destruction. Akshara means that cannot be destroyed. That means eternal, immortal. So these are all Aksharas in the Sanskrit language. That's why it's called Devanagara Bhasha, God's spoken language. So they are not just words. They emit light. In the language, see, one question from you, it gets connected to so many branches of thought process. These letters are called light. Why and how? It happens in Samskrita letters. If you ask me, doesn't it happen in other languages? If it is inspired from that language, most of our Indian languages are inspired in a subtle way also like that. Even if it is English, for that matter, ultimately they are all sound vibrations. But in Samskrita, so much has work gone in since our ancient time that we are able to relate with in a very better way, I would say. Easier way. So I'm taking this example. Otherwise, any language is fine. So when these letters are in Samskrita, they have two branches, sections. One is called swaras, the other called vyanjanas. And further it is divided into sibilants and semi-vowels and all. That's all technical part. But people know that swaras and vyanjanas, right? Swaras are 16 letters. A, I, O, Ammaha. For us, they are just letters. But they are mantras in Tantra. How does it become a mantra? Technically, strictly speaking, when Anuswara it is called. Anuswara is added to any letter, that becomes a mantra. Why it is called a mantra? When you add that, it gets the vibratory pattern which is similar, I wouldn't say the same, which is similar to the vibration of the Brahmanda.
Resonance.
So when you do this japa, this vibration that you are creating within yourself through your nadis and chakras and then the Sahasrara chakra and all that, they are all the energy points emitting light constantly.
Missiles.
And receiving light also. They have both capacity.
Missiles and radars.
I don't know much about that. Yeah, it appeals to the modern mind. So, right, no problem. Expressions keep altering. So when these are the letters becoming mantras, then any scripture is full of mantras because of those vibratory patterns. So you don't have to know that this is a particular mantra, I am doing like this and like that. Not necessary. Without also, they are light. But vibration is lesser.
Okay.
That's why in India, in ancient times, always good names were kept to their children. So that in that pretext, they would keep calling the name of the child, and that vibratory pattern keeps developing in the body at a subtle plane. It's a very big science. So where are we now? So up the ladder.
You just gave out some positive radioactive substances on this podcast.
My body is vibrating.
This is what is needed to come out to the audiences, right? Like you gave the beginning steps.
Let them take up anything in a very innocent way. I don't want anyone to approach divinity in fear. These do's and don'ts, I don't agree with.
Okay. Wow. Okay. My yoga practice was going pretty strong this year. And apparently this year has been one of the most challenging and rewarding years of my life. So I'm just flowing at this point because I don't know what to expect next. One day I'm blessed with like liquid gold being poured into my life. The next day, like I'm being stabbed by 100 knives. So I'm like, I don't know what this year is. Yoga was going well. I got one of the worst injuries of my life in a football game. One guy just tripped and fell on me. Not his fault or anything. Just
This is all seemingly reasoning. It had to happen.
Yeah.
And football was the pretext.
Yeah, it was the most psychologically challenging injury that I've ever had in my life. And I've done martial arts. I've had all sorts of injuries in my life. But I can't even sit
To
cross-legged.
show you that these are all nothing. Why are you stuck in all these things?
As in?
See, at this age, for you, body is everything. And mind gets fascinated to keep this body fit, sculpted, अच्छी बात है. I am not saying that we should ignore the body, because a sick body cannot do any sadhana. You need to take care of your health. The question is where to draw the line. Otherwise, what happens is whole life is body, body, and the body, and the body. And the mind gets into that illusion that it's only body. To show you that, because as far as I can see, I don't have any siddhis. I don't have any capacity to predict anything. It's just my intuition. When it has to flow, it will flow. Right? And when it flows, normally I withdraw. I don't want to let it out. But when something is useful for the person who is sitting in front of me, it just flows and I don't intervene. Okay? So, far as I can see, Divinity has chosen you to do something much more bigger than what you are thinking. If at all, what you are now is a very big thing. So, if you think this is the highest ladder, baat khatam. So, Divinity intervenes again and again to make you learn the lessons of life. But we are not able to interpret it. So we think it's just a coincidence. And we are carried away by that thing. And we are too busy in the external world. We don't want to contemplate on that. Chalo, ho gaya kuch, I don't know what it is. And we are happy with that answer. But if you are determined to hang on to that question, like, why did I have to trip and then fall down? Somebody was responsible for it. Why did it happen? You will get the answer, which is much more esoteric in nature. Interpretation, you will be able to understand what it is. So Divinity intervenes in different ways to tell you that body is not the end of all. Whatever I have experienced, whatever my life lessons, I am sharing with you.
No, thank you, ma'am. I wait for these days in my career. This is not
I
work.
was in America traveling. There were about 60 programs to complete in a matter of 2 months. It's quite hectic. With my husband, both of us used to travel. And at the fag end of the programs, it was 10 more days to go. Come back to Bangalore. Same day. No, 3 days difference. We were staying with the family, and the child was 5 years old, and she was jumping on the bed. She was playing with me, I was playing with her. I should have kept myself happy looking at her jumping, right? I was inspired to get onto the bed and I started jumping. Fell down, broke my left knee.
Oh.
Instant. And it's so difficult to get an orthopedic surgeon and call in emergency in America. Oh, it was a series of miseries. And then after 3 days, I was taken to that emergency thing, and then they gave me some first aid thing and all that, and then I was on crutches, and then we were determined to complete the programs. From one flight to another flight, we would go on the crutch, do it. Guru ka kaam hai, karna hai bas. And after 3rd or 4th day, my husband fell down in another house, just rolled down from the staircase and broke his leg, the other leg. What do you make out of it? So these are the experiences which have taught me that it's not just a coincidence or somebody was responsible for happening in my life. It's never.
It's a cleanse.
You're paying back the debts. Through that, cleansing happens.
Okay. Coming back to the...
I don't know where we were.
So
ladder and snake.
I'll tell you, like...
And Nama Rupa. Listeners might say that a lot of things were unfinished.
Okay. You want to finish your loop right now?
No. Not like that. I'm worried about your viewers.
You can... That's fine.
Fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a part of the conversation that has to come out again, please take it up. You want to continue?
I don't know. I just move with the flow.
Okay. I'll say what I was. Bad mental health this year. Okay. And mostly out of anger. Like too angry. I was having a rough time. I went to the mall. I took my mum out. And my mum had gone in to try some clothes. So I was standing outside the changing room and I was having a very bad day. And I've reached a point in fame where I'm not like a cricketer or superstar film actor famous where I'm mobbed. But wherever I go, there are eyeballs. I've reached that middle point of fame somewhere. And sometimes I don't like it. Especially if I'm having like bad
Personal
days.
life is not there, no?
Yeah. Like if
It can be irritating.
Yeah. So if I enter a store, there's too many eyeballs on me, my loved ones, etc. Some judgment as well. So
What do you mean by your loved ones?
my mother, my girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
So-
Right. I didn't have any inner meaning.
No.
I was just curious.
No. Fortunately, they're also perceptive and they also pick it up. And anyway,
Nice.
so if someone comes up and asks for a photo, sometimes I don't like being interrupted in that little circle I've created with my girlfriend or my mother. And I just politely say that, sorry, not today. I'm just on a date, or like I want to be in a private zone. Okay.
Do
And
they accept it? Your fans?
mostly, yeah.
Mostly. That's good.
Yeah, mostly. Like I've seen only 5% of people who get irritated and then like retaliate and all. But mostly people understand because there is a need for privateness in my life.
Sure.
So much of it is public. Anyway. So I was in one of those days where
You
I
asked
just
for it and you got it.
yeah, it's all blessings, but you don't understand this aspect of fame till you experience it yourself. And like every public appearance is met with a lot of eyeballs.
That's why Guru says, do your sadhana, don't ask for anything. Because, well, while asking, you really very badly want it. By the time it comes, you know that it is headache.
Yeah. Yet one has to go through that to truly understand.
Because you have asked it and come to this body to fulfill that.
Yeah.
You cannot avoid it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I was having a bad day and I didn't want to talk to anyone. Okay. And then someone touched my leg. I turned and it was a little child. Okay. With like green glowing eyes. It was a little girl. And she said hi. And I said hi. I said, can I take a photo? And then a mom came and said that she's your biggest fan and she was a 6-year-old. Okay. And I looked at her girl's face only and you can tell that this child is blessed. And it's blessing me also. So I'm like, I want to take a photo with you. So I got down, took a photo. And genuinely, since I've met that kid, something nice has happened in my mental health. And I've spoken about this kid a lot.
Divinity came in that form to help you out.
I found her.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I found her Instagram profile. And it's a 6-year-old girl named Khwab. And she's got photos praying to gods, getting tikkas done. And my girlfriend mentioned this when she saw that kid. She said that this is definitely an older soul that's descended into a child's body. And even between the mum and the child seemed like the mother. And I felt that as well. And I don't know, every time I'm having a bad day, think of that kid again. That a 6-year-old is listening to my show. I must have done something correct in life. I get rid of that self-doubt just through that kid's image.
Something beautiful to happen in your life.
Just meeting her was like the blessing. This is one thought bubble I wanted to put forth in order to bring forth the next much bigger thought bubble. I see my mother's generation. My mother's like 1965 born. I think you were also 62?
Me? 57.
57. I see that 1955 to 65 age bracket of people. And there's many people who do puja. There's many people who pray. Not everyone ended up discovering Tantra or perhaps is discovering Tantra now.
No. The very puja that everybody is doing at home is nothing but Tantra. But they don't know.
Exact. They don't know is the angle.
What is there in the world, whether it's Tantra or not, what they're doing is doing.
When I was a child and I would see my mum doing mantras, even as a kid, you know that there's an energy flowing in the air. And my first thought was, what is this? I just want to know more. And then we began this podcast 20 years later. And I realized, oh, this is what a mantra is. Oh, this is what it does to your sense of consciousness.
This is called, putting the seeds for Samskara. What you saw there, now it's working.
Yeah.
Connecting you.
The visualization I have is pre-2019 is when 2019 is when our podcast started. Pre-2019, I see generations of Indians doing puja and low-key doing Tantra. They're doing Tantra, they don't know they're doing Tantra. And post-2019, all these young people listening to our show, who are perhaps older souls, just like that little kid, they are discovering these facets of puja and Tantra through podcasts in general, our show as well. And they're going to be doing puja and carrying their parents' legacy with so much more force now. And of course, once that generation of parents passes away and comes back, they're going to keep carrying it on. So actually what I'm trying to say here is Tantra itself as a force, or Shri Vidya as a force, or Bhagavati as a force, is getting stronger and stronger in this phase. That's what I'm sensing. And parallelly, we're seeing a much more chaotic world with a lot more evolved souls descending in the form of children.
There are better ways to contemplate on things.
Like?
Who am I? When you know who am I, all these questions get answered.
Practice again, right? Boils down to practice.
So, divinity, there is an approach in Shri Vidya, straight a leap from what you are to that and say, and realize also that I am none other than Shiva. Shiva is only a name. Shiva means consciousness. Shiva means auspicious. The word meaning is. All that is auspicious can be termed as Shiva. Or if you want to give another name, you can give. Names are all just symbols leading you to one particular level of sadhana. But because the mind is caught up here with so many limitations, one limitation, something very interesting happened. I had gone to one Ayurveda doctor in Chandigarh. Recently I was in Chandigarh. I was not well. And there is one massage lady, she does. So somehow I think she had seen my podcast, same thing. And then, she wanted to ask me so many questions. And she wanted to know whether I do a mantra initiation and all that. And in that, she asked me, now that you have spent some time with me, every day I was meeting her, what do you feel about me? She asked. It was a very innocent question. It's like gave me a melting feeling, with all that sincerity she asked me. I said, you are a good soul. You know what was her response? It was shocking to me. She said, no, Amma ji, no. I am not at all a good person. I said, what makes you feel so? She said, when I wake up in the morning, my first thought is chai. I have to drink 3 cups of chai, then only I can do something. Is it not a bad habit? How can I be a good person? See the conditioning of the mind about so many things, good and the bad. These are all the non-essentials that we carry. If at all, it's possible, if it is possible, to feel and think in totality that I am very pure and divine, it will happen. That's the manifestation. You can do it. But it's difficult. Why it is difficult? Because of these conditional aspects which we have been nurturing. So you are asking the highest enlightenment, whatever it is, we really don't know when it comes. In simple terms, when you remove through your sadhana all these conditionings which have covered up your consciousness, so your consciousness is not able to emit that light and make you experience that you are nothing but light. If all these things are removed through your sadhana, then and there you experience that you are divine.
Can I ask you a very modern problem? Again, this is a very audience-based question. It's actually a much larger topic. I'm boiling it down into a few things. Non-veg, alcohol, marijuana.
Same questions come to me.
Cannabis, coffee, tea, porn, sex, bad thoughts, evil thoughts, all put into one category. And this is coming out of the seed of thought that you just presented. That this lady said that, hey, the first thing I think of is tea. So she's looking at her affinity towards just chai as a negative thing. Because someone somewhere.
Yeah, she has been conditioned that taking chai is not good for spirituality.
Right. What about all these other things, ma'am? Alcohol, bhang, cannabis.
Bad thoughts.
Bad thought. Everything I named.
All these emotions are handled and explored in an exhaustive manner in Tantra. There is nothing new that I have to say. There is a text by name of Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. You would love the word Bhairava, so I refer to it. Bhairava is that higher state of consciousness, an aspect of the consciousness. In that 112 dharanas are prescribed in Tantra to focus on and then attain that state of enlightenment. One among them is bad thoughts.
Dharana means what?
Dharana is technically your capacity to focus on one single thought without wavering to second thought, third thought.
So when you're saying 112 dharanas, it's 112 different thoughts.
112 tools of concentration.
Points of concentration.
Tools.
Like things you use to concentrate or things you concentrate on.
Each dharana is one single thought. You need not go through all the 112. One is enough for you to attain that path. So, one among the items for concentration out of 112 thoughts, 112 dharanas, is also a bad thought that can be used as a tool to attain enlightenment. To simplify, look at the life of Ravana. A contrast built up to Rama. Without Ravana doesn't exist. If we are able to glorify the character of Rama, it's because of Ravana. As a contrast being built up in the mind, like black and white. Right? But Ravana was a great devotee of Shiva. But his devotion fell down because of one mistake he did. This is one of the interpretations of Ramayana. That he, abducted Sita. There may be many reasons for that. I am coming back to our point of discussion that in Bhakti Marga also there is a concept which is built around as Nindha Bhakti. In dance, we exploit it to the maximum extent. So there is a system where you keep blaming the God, using all foul language, bad language to say you are very bad, very bad, very bad, very bad. What is the psychological understanding that one has to take from this? God is to be emulated. God is to be praised. But why this fellow wants to ninda karna? Ninda stuti. The point that we have to perceive is either with good words or bad words, what you are doing is ultimately you are remembering him. And bad thoughts are always more powerful than good thoughts to hold your attention. Do you agree?
Yes.
If you hate somebody and if you love somebody, whom do you think more often?
The one you hate.
Hence, Tantra has exploited this aspect of the psychological state of the mind to take up bad thoughts also as a powerful tool to focus on divinity. And if you are a foodie person, are you?
Yeah.
Then one of the Bhairava Tantra dharana says, your very desire to eat food can be used as a dharana and then attain the highest. So now tell me, what is right, what is wrong? There's nothing like that. Both right and wrong are our mental perspectives.
Could there be a young person who is a good person, wants to do good in the world, wants to evolve, but drinks alcohol, smokes cigarette, eats non-veg, yet practices? Does the Lalitra Sahasranama, does Bhairav Jap, whatever their practice is. Could they still evolve?
Do you know that Bhairava is offered liquor?
Yes.
Why?
Non-judgmental deity.
This is city bred mind. Bhairava is... Actually, I didn't want to talk about Bhairava because there's so much of happening about Bhairava. I don't want to add anything more to that. But just as a relevant one, because you are a Upasaka of Bhairava. There are Ashta Bhairavas called. I mean, at this point, immediately, I cannot recall all the names of them. And Batuka Bhairava is one who is offered. That's the one you to the...
There's a prayer I do to Batuk Bhairav every night.
Okay.
But Kal Bhairav is my...
Kal Bhairav. Okay. So Bhairava is that state of consciousness which is very dynamic and aggressive. And the energy that you use is of fire. As the mantra, so you become. Each mantra has a purpose. If there is less of fire in you, that mantra will ignite it. Already if you have more of fire, so only Guru knows which mantra to be given to whom, for how long, how much to practice it. So when you offer alcohol to Bhairava, it is your inner expression of your love towards the deity, connecting it through liquor. This is the psychological state of what the factual thing is about. It is said that we should offer as a gift to anybody which we love most, because if we love the person most, not the one which we want to discard, that you give it as a gift. Even in spiritual practices, you have to offer something to the deity which you love most, so that detachment starts happening. See, traditionally also people go to Kashi and then give up something, some vegetable they give up not eating. What exactly it means? It means it's the symbol that you are using, that the most loving thing I am going to give to God and be done with it. I am not going to use it anymore.
And then does the deity remove the desire for that thing from your mind?
It happens. Because you are already going through that psychological process.
But what if the desire is still there?
Means you have to work on your desires further. And again, give up.
You know, when you begin an Upasana, you attract other people also into your life. So since we've started talking about Tantra on the show, lots of Tantra fans have entered my life with questions. Lots of people I know have started practicing. Because we've spoken about practices like how we...
And many of them tease you also. I like it.
That's a part of fame.
It's nice.
I've had this question come up to me a lot in terms of, hey bro, I drink, but I want to really go forward in my journey.
That's the first question all my Shri Vidya initiates ask me.
Drinking.
Drinking, eating non-veg, should we give it up? Then only are we eligible for taking the mantra? I give them the simplest answer. You want to know about that?
Yes.
I say, who am I to tell you that you are not perfect? And then what is perfection, I say? It's your mental concoction that perfection is like this, like this, like this. It doesn't exist in reality. Because the way it is perfect. It is the human mind that wants to change the definition of that one. Look at this plant. Nature's law is that it has to be under the sun and just grow and then enjoy its one. It is the human mind wants to articulate it and then also manipulate it and then bring it to the way we want to have the enjoyment. Just across sitting next to me, I can see the plant and then enjoy. and there is energy, this, that, and all. Just the human mind. If you ask me, is it totally wrong? I'm not asking the right and the wrong, because right and the wrong doesn't exist at all. It's the way you look at it.
I have one more angle to bring in here. I had a very long Australia trip a couple of years ago where we met some Aboriginal people who are also practitioners, and they have their own version of
Practice is Tantra only.
Yes. They have mantras, they have deities, all that. It's exactly a parallel. It's just the Aussie parallel, mate. So, spoke about Tantra in detail to them. They have a word for cannabis. I can't remember what. Anyway, there was a word for cannabis he used. And there's certain tribes which accept cannabis, and there's certain tribes which say that it reduces my own spiritual force. So all the mantras I'm doing, it's building up a force, and the moment if I smoke a joint, that force gets reduced. Maybe it doesn't erase itself completely, but
you're wasting time now.
Yeah.
It's increasing and then reducing.
It's like you're using a sharpener to sharpen a pencil every day, and the moment you use cannabis, sure you're getting the high, but that pencil is getting blunted. It's still able to write, but just a blunt pencil. My question is mainly for spiritualists, because those are the people watching this show. And I know so many people who've smoked weed in their college days, probably not even drank alcohol, because alcohol really blunts out the mind. But weed is a tool that can be used for creativity and, like going deeper into your own mind. And I've seen that people who have an affinity for cannabis also end up having an affinity for sadhana. Because they realize it's kind of a similar high. Or if I'm using
Swami Rama was a smoker.
Cigarette.
So those days, when it's a major part of his life he spent in America, no? Establishing the organization there and spreading the message of yoga and all that. So his American disciples used to ask him, is it not smoking against yoga? Yamas and niyamas. He only taught them, no? So he used to say, yes, I do smoke, but I also know how to clear my lungs. That means lungs do get damaged by smoking. Every smoker knows. What is the message? Knowing something as good and bad doesn't end there. We may know many things, that this is good, this is not good, and all that. How much of it are you able to bring it into practice? Ultimately matters.
And got it. The answer is within each seeker.
So go slow. Go slow with your limitations. Work on it slowly. You may fail 100 times, but there is always 101st time that you can succeed. That's what Tantra advocates. That take every limitation, not as a curse, not as a limitation, not to feel depressed about it, not to feel low about it, but work on it. See how you can make it good for your life.
Understood.
And people asked me, even then, such a great master, why should he smoke and all that? People have their own funny ideas about how a guru should be, the image and all that, They are stuck. They are stuck as far as the guru is concerned. They don't realize it. So they keep asking me this question about my guru. One possible answer, not that I'm trying to justify what my guru does, that I am supporting him because he is my guru, that he can smoke. Nothing of that sort. These great souls, Mahatmas, all the sages, they have a purpose to attain when they are in the body. They have come with a purpose. Until that gets over, they don't want to leave the body. But their causal bodies, Karana Sharira, the third layer, is so pure out of their practices that there is no reason why they have to be in the body. The spirit, Atma, can get disconnected automatically. It just happens as a natural course of events. So they keep one bad element like this so that their body is still connected to this earth element, so that they can continue to function in their body.
It's like the dome community in Kashi. Apparently, because you are involved in the process of burning bodies regularly, that's a spiritual practice. And it's such a strong spiritual practice that your Kundalini apparently can wake up very fast because of just doing that daily. So I believe in that tradition, they are told to drink alcohol regularly, which I found so crazy. And I met one of them who was clearly intoxicated and angry, but also powerful. There's a lot of secrets hidden in our country.
It is so mystifying.
Ma, this was a very fun conversation. We've almost reached the end. There's one burning question left from my end. There's actually a couple. The first one is about Kal Bhairav and your meeting with Kal Bhairav. I'm happy to leave that for the next time I meet you.
Okay.
Because it came second in the sequential order that we spoke. We mentioned Sage Agastya multiple times in this conversation. That's a part of your spiritual journey that we should highlight. I'd also love to know about your book, because I'm sure it has many more stories, just like your meeting with Sage Agastya. Can we talk about your meeting with Sage Agastya, or you can begin it wherever you want? Personally, my beginner's question is, give context on who Sage Agastya is.
Sage Agastya is one of the very important, prominent sages in the Himalayan tradition.
The Himalayan tradition?
Himalayan tradition.
What is that?
The very source of Tantra, the Vedas, and all the Rishis that we name anybody, Swami Rama says, they are all from the Himalayan region. Starting from Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Suresha, who are called the Brahma's Manasa Putras. So in that lineage, Sage Agastya also one among them. And his wife was also a very great Rishika. Rishi is male gender and this feminine is Rishika. And both of them were Shri Vidya seers. Shri Vidya mantra seers. Drishtara. Drishtara means one sees the mantra. There is a process where these great people see the mantra. It's revealed to them. In Shri Vidya tradition also, for all the Shri Vidya practitioners, the last mantra has to reveal by itself. So this revelation is directly connected to the divine grace. So certain Vedic mantras were also added by his wife Lopa Mudra, her name is. Both of them were the seers of Shri Vidya Panchadashi mantra. In Panchadashi, there are 2-3 types. One starts with the Ka, that is called Kahadi, Ahadi, and Mishra, and all that. I will not go into those details. So both Sage Agastya and his wife were great seers of Shri Vidya path. They are the precursors of this. And so many attainments Sage Agastya has to his credit. Like alchemy, the art and science of alchemy, he was the first one to do. And people say that he invented the aeroplane at that point of time. And many chemicals he discovered. Endless achievements he has. Coming to the spiritual path, he had attained the highest level, whatever it is in Shri Vidya, as a Rishi. So he is a sought after Rishi in the Himalayan tradition. And he was sent to the south because he is more known in the south. And many people are connected to Sage Agastya in South India. So his name is a revered one among the sages. And in what way Sage Agastya is connected to my life is very interesting. In 1992, when Swami Rama initiated me in Shri Vidya, first time I heard that name, what Shri Vidya is. Those were not the days of YouTube or digital world. So we wouldn't know. That's how my spiritual journey began with, as far as Shri Vidya is concerned. Then he also told me that I am not only initiating you in Shri Vidya, in Shambhavi Diksha, that is the highest Diksha in Shri Vidya, and also Kashmir Shaivism, but also I am going to connect you to the entire Rishigan, he said. This is the action he did. And even after I leave my body, you will be always taken care of by this Rishigan. At that point of time, I didn't understand its significance.
This was in a dream?
No, during the mantra initiation in 1992 in Rishikesh, Sadhana Mandir Ashram, like sitting face to face, after giving the mantra, Shri Vidya mantra, he said these words. I couldn't understand what exactly he meant by that. But as my sadhana started, blossoming, then all these subtle things I started understanding, and how sages can connect with you if you are able to kind of purify your chakras up to Ajna Chakra. Ajna Chakra is the point where commands are given and commands are received. So Guru works through your Ajna Chakra once you come up to that level where every learning happens in silence because of this connecting link. Otherwise they cannot do, because this receiving station is not tuned properly. But when they really want to communicate, they will use different ways. They will come in the dream or through somebody's body. They will come and then tell you what it is and all that. So Sage Agastya, it was a kind of a round table conference that happened in the Rishi's world, Rishi's Loka, that something like this should be done to me. I was clueless about it. So he was sent to give me the knowledge of Matrika Chakra, which is a very big premise on which Shri Vidya has evolved. I don't want to say what is Matrika Chakra because it becomes a diversion. You can keep them for the next one.
Sure.
Matrika Chakra is 50 letters in Samskara language. This much is enough for now. And there is a beautiful practice evolved in Shri Vidya by name Titi Nitya Upasana. It's about 15 Nitya Devis from Amavasya to Purnima to Amavasya, which comprises of the lunar calendar. The interesting part is this Matrika Chakra Siddhanta for the knowledge is explored and given an exposition in Titi Nitya practice. And also the other mantras of Shri Vidya like Panchadashi. Nowadays everybody talks about Panchadashi mantra and everybody aspires to receive that mantra and all that. Both are one and the same. This Titi Nitya practice and this Panchadashi mantra. Steps are different. So these 16 letters, the vowels, the swaras to be precise, are utilized in their vibratory patterns to symbolize one Titi Nitya deity each day after Amavasya. First day, second day, third day, like that. So 15 days. So this is a highly esoteric practice. But my Shri Vidya Guru had not given me this knowledge. But I was already studying Shiva Sutra, where Matrika Chakra is a very important concept. And it is said by sage Vasishtha and others that if Matrika Chakra is unknown by an aspirant of Shri Vidya, then he cannot progress in his mantra japa. So much important it is. So I was studying, but I was not able to understand it very clearly and all that. Then one day I went to Gurugalu, my Shri Vidya Guru in Mysuru. I said, suddenly he asked me, how is your study going on in Shiva Sutra? I never told him that I am studying. But he knew. Then I shared my experience. Said, when I read, I try, I understand, but then I feel I have not understood anything. Is it so? Then he looked deep into me through drishti. He gave me the entire knowledge of Matruka Chakra in a flash. He said, now you go and study, you will understand. And it happened. Then what happened, to cut the story short, I had gone to Tirumaichur in Tamil Nadu. There is a great temple of Lalita Tripura Sundari. I didn't go, I didn't know about that. The car itself took us to the temple by losing our road towards Pondicherry. So we ended up in front of her temple. Later on, I came to know that this is the place where Vagdevis, Vashinyadi Vagdevis, recited Lalita Sahasranama for the first time in this place, in this temple. And it was brought down by Agastya and Lopamudra directly from Hayagriva, sage Hayagriva. So this is the background. And his photo is there and all that. And then I met him. That it becomes a very long story, which I have already written in messages from the Himalayan sages. And then finally, ultimately, he made sure that I understood he is none other than Sage Agastya. He had come in somebody's sannyasi's body. He had come.
In a physical body.
Physical body. And then he gave me the message about Tithi Nitya Upasana. But I couldn't understand clearly. I felt something has happened and Sage Agastya was there. All that was communicated. And the knowledge was also given to me through my Ajna Chakra. But could not find out what it was. Came back to our ashram and I was just doing the sadhana. Suddenly one evening, I was doing the Matraka Chakra chanting, which is a very important aspect of Shri Vidya practice. Matraka Shuddhi is a mandatory practice for all our mantras. And it is said that even if you don't do the mantras, if you do only Matraka Chakra, you can attain the highest. So I was doing that practice in the evening, and to my closed eyes, I saw that Sage Agastya is standing in front of me. And Sage Agastya is very popular in South. Everybody has seen the photograph. And I have grown up, listening to all these stories about sages from my mother, from my childhood. I had a great fascination for them. Later on, I gave it up because I thought sages are somebody, obsolete now. They don't belong to this era. They are come and gone. There is no relevance to our life. So I gave it up. And again, they had to come in this manner. So, I could immediately recognize that it is Sage Agastya. And my chanting halted. Because I was overwhelmed to see Sage Agastya standing in front of me. Then, with great effort, because such experiences I have gone through, it's not the first time, I put my efforts to continue my practice. Because I understood he has come to watch my practice, how it's going on, what he had given me in Tirumaichur temple. So I continued. Then when I saw, seeing him, and then I was chanting one letter, Aim. That mantra. Aim. A is a letter, Aim is a Bijakshara mantra. I'm chanting according to the systematic practice. Then he suddenly used his Anima, Garima, Mahima, Siddhis, and he became reduced himself to small entity, like Anu, atom-like. Still, I could see him in all clarity that he is Sage Agastya only. All the details were there in his Anu size. And then I'm just, just flabbergasting, overwhelming. I'm just staring at him, and then he entered my throat. Not through my mouth, directly through this hole. and my throat totally became blue color. He stood there, watched my chanting for a long time. And what else he did entering my throat, I didn't know. But turning off my throat into blue color was very clear with that letter connection, that letter that I was chanting. And later on I found out that is one of the Nitya Devis. Her name is Neela Pataka. Neela means blue. He watched me, supervised me. What else at the subtle body level and causal body level did, he only knows. Then he came out the way he had gone in, stood in front of me, and then came back to his normal height. He's a very short person. And with his Kamandala and Brahmadanda, he's standing in front of me, and he watched me further, and he was like happy that my practice is going on good. And then he nodded like this and he disappeared. But I didn't know what to do next. I had already completed my Shri Vidya practice, and this is another practice. Should I do it for myself? But why is it given to me? By then my Guru Galu had already left his body. So I didn't know. But then they make sure that we learn. So what they give as a message, this learning happens in silence. And that is it called para level, transcendental level. And there are other 3 levels. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and Vaikari. What I am talking is at the Vaikari level. Vocal cord I am using. But 2 more stages in between, that experience which has happened in a flash gets translated into grosser and the grossest. Then we are able to understand. Then things started happening that I get the right person to talk about that, right scriptures I get, right dreams I get, everything towards that. And then my knowledge became complete. Then the message was that Panchadashi mantra and Shodashi mantra. And I am given Mahashodashi also, mantra of 28 letters. All these are in no way different from this Sthiti Nitya practice. This knowledge, second time, no, one course is already over. It's a similar one. We are giving it to you because we want you to take it up as the mission of your life to reach to thousands of people and give it to them. Receiving the knowledge is one thing, and teaching the same knowledge to another person is something else. It's another thing. So I had to work a lot on it to translate that knowledge into workable proposition. When I got ready, Swami Rama came in my dream, said, I am opening the floodgates. And my podcast became viral. My first podcast on prana stories. Every day they used to find it very difficult to handle my phone calls on Instagram, enquiries for Shri Vidya. It's going on and on and on and on and on and on.
All the best post this release.
So in this connection, I wanted to write this book. This is a collection of my experiences of 30 long years.
Wow.
All the sages and my own masters, my own gurus. What are through different direct experiences, because Shri Vidya is considered as direct experience. Once you directly experience the divine, all your questions about God, they dissolve. So Shri Vidya aims at giving you that kind of an experience. Such innumerable experiences, it was recorded in my memory. Then Swami Rama came and said, you have to write this book. And my Shri Vidya Guru said, you are going to write this book.
Have you written this book? Or it's been written?
It's only for convenience sake, I have to say that I wrote it. Because my name is officially given there. I used to record my experiences. And then my team would put it in a beautiful episode. And I would do the corrections. If it's not far away from reality, not masala added or anything. Strictly to the truth of the core of the truth. All that part I did. And it's just picked up. Everybody wants to read this book. So August 21st, I released the book in Chandigarh because our disciples were very keen on taking up this as a function. And September 22nd, which is going to come, in Bangalore, I am releasing the Kannada version of it. Actually, first I wrote it in Kannada because my mother tongue and it's very dear to me. And but again, we are releasing the English one also one more time along with the Kannada one on 22nd September. So, for the reader of this book, I would say just they have to hold the book in their hand, just close their eyes and seek for a message. Because there are messages from the sages, Himalayan sages.
Can I keep that one? Can I keep it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I will give it to you ceremoniously.
Oh, thank you.
Not immediately.
Okay.
And then you just hold it like this. Pray that you need some spiritual guidance or any problem on that day you have, which you are not able to sort it out. And pray and then just open. And you get the answer on that page or in that chapter.
I've been waiting for this for the last 2 years.
Is it?
Yes. This is what I was waiting for. So thank you.
This is this the one I have to give? Yeah. Just to write your name. And on 21st July, on Guru Purnima Day, we released this book. And on that day morning, this is called Gold Edition. About 20 only we had printed, only for the special people. And I wrote messages at random on each book, not knowing it would reach whom. And I was sure the message written here would be meant for that person.
Wow.
So to the seeker who is in spiritual path, dear Ranveer, Ranveer.
Double E, yeah.
For one who is intent about the spiritual growth, his daily life itself becomes the reflection of his inner progression. Hearing, seeing, eating, talking, walking, sleeping, all these are motivated to the very purpose of life and also consciousness. He or she accepts only what is good to the growth of the soul and reject what is not.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So it's a blessing from the sages that on behalf of them, because I am in the mortal body, I can give it to you.
Oh,
Otherwise, actually, they have given it to you.
Thank you so much. Very big moment for me on the show. Thank you.
Yeah. Just
Thank you
one
so
more
much.
copy. You can share it with anybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And there is a small token of love.
Thank you. See, this is the best days that I have while shooting. Thank you more than anything.
And send me a picture.
Yes, I will do that.
Not receiving it when you use it.
Understood. Yes. Thank you. Lots of gratitude. There's always an ending note I give my guests, but I'll give you the ending note the next time we shoot.
That's a beautiful way of saying.
Very deep thank you. Deep thank you.
I really enjoyed the time with you because how I speak, what I speak depends on the other person who is sitting in front of me. There are dull moments with other people when I have to exert my energy and put force and then do the talking. But today it was just a wonderful flow. That's because of my dear Ranveer.
Thank you, Ma. You've answered a lot and you've sorted out a lot of questions that I've had.
Hopefully.
Thank you for this book and thank you for the conversation. Again, it was not my questions and it wasn't your answers according to me. So, thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome.
That was the episode for today, ladies and gentlemen. Ma will return on the show very soon. Send in your feedback. Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Please send in guest recommendations when it comes to more episodes from the world of Tantra. This is my absolute favorite subject from the realms of Sanatan Dharma. I'm always open to bringing on souls like this who've gone on their own evolutionary path through this human lifetime of theirs. Send in your suggestions. Thank you for supporting us. TRS and the whole team will be back very soon. Lots of love.